Hello, this is Orlando Mayor Buddy Dyer.
Welcome home. Soar into tower. We are ready for takeoff.
Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas.
Hey, it's Amy from DVC Clubhouse.
Hey Clubbers, it's Scott from DVC Clubhouse.
Hey, it's Kathleen from DVC Clubhouse.
Welcome aboard. It's Phil from DVC Clubhouse.
Hey, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Debrief Podcast brought to you by DVC Clubhouse. This is Amy, and I'm joined, as always, by my co-hosts, Phil, Kathleen, and Scott. Hey, guys.
Hey, guys.
Hi guys.
Welcome aboard, guys.
So, unfortunately, Scott's with us today, but he's feeling a little under the weather.
You said unfortunately Scott's with us today.
Well, no, fortunately, Scott is with us, but
I was just
unfortunately,
waiting
he's
for
under
these
the
Scott's
weather.
not with us anymore. Did he die? No, he's just been sick.
Yes, I've had some major Disney crud since we've got back. This has been a few weeks, but I'm blaming it on the Disney World, the Disney crud for sure.
Sounds like you changed from a tenor to a bass.
Yes, that's what the Disney crud gives you, a sexier voice.
But it does not make you in the mood for bourbon.
Hold on, can I just do Phil's part since I have a deeper voice now? Welcome aboard.
Welcome aboard.
Welcome aboard. I'm Barry White.
So speaking of under the weather, ties in nicely to our topic today, because I'd seen a couple of social media posts recently about, I particularly saw a TikTok about a guest who had recently gone to Epic Universe, and they said that they found like the major weakness of that park is that when it rains, that park is essentially kind of shuts down, and there's not a lot of places to go. All but 3 of the rides are outside, and during bad weather, those rides shut down. And even the spaces where you walk or congregate are not covered. So it's not even like you can kind of hunker down someplace and escape the rain. This is what this person on this video said. I have yet to be there. None of us have been there. I'll be there at the end of July. But they basically said, if you're going to be going to Universal and it's going to be raining, do not do Epic Universe on the day that it's forecasted to rain, because you will likely not be able to get that much done, and you will also get very wet. So it made me think about, what are the things when you go to Disney when it rains? Can you make the most of a rainy day or even a rainy vacation? Because sometimes you can go and it could rain for a few days out of your vacation, depending on when you go. And how do you make the most out of a rainy day vacation at Disney World? Is it is it like Epic Universe where it's a total skip, or are you able to actually make the most of the rain? Throw on a poncho and make the most of it. So, have you all been to Disney when it's been, very rainy, and what has been your experiences? What's your strategy?
Yeah, we have many times.
I think we own about 35 Disney rain ponchos because we forget to bring ours every time. So that's the first thing we do is we pop into the first store that we see and buy some ponchos.
Add it to the list.
Yeah.
We have like 5 in my car, 5 in his car.
We have 6 or 8 of them in the owner's locker and consistently kept forgetting to bring them with us in the last trip. So we ended up under umbrellas and all kinds of other stuff. You've got to have it with you. That is the most effective part of owning the poncho.
There's a few things that I can think of off the top of my head. Just stay at the resort. They have the community halls at every resort. What else they have? Every resort has a lounge. You can always do that.
Except Riviera. They got a pool bar.
Well, and that's outside.
That's right. Well, if it's raining out, you don't want to be out there. No, there's plenty to do. I mean, in the parks. I mean, think about we could go through every park and list a million things to do. There's so many different things, rides that
Well,
are indoor.
if you were going to go and it was going to be rainy, which park would you choose to go to on a rainy day if you were there and you needed to kind of pivot your plans because of rain? Which would you
I don't
choose to
even
go to?
I don't even have to think about that.
Really?
It's Epcot.
Really? Because that was not going to be my pick.
It's all day Epcot because they're not going to shut down Guardians. They're not going to shut down any of the rides. Frozen would still be going on. Remy's would still be going on. Spaceship Earth, Three Caballeros. I mean, all of the rides are still at your disposal. And then look at all of the different stores in the different countries that you could still pop into.
Yeah, but you still got to walk between them. I'm not saying it's a bad option. I wonder, just because of proximity, if Magic Kingdom's not better for that. That was our experience on the last trip. We were able to keep things very close together with longer shows and covered areas in Magic Kingdom more than everywhere else, just because you have such a cluster of things close together.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I think about the countries and they're so close together and there are just so many things to do when you walk in those. If you walk back into the countries, I don't think we do that a lot. We tend to just walk around World Showcase and just look and maybe grab a food item or something like that. But do you ever really go back into all the shops in France or, explore Morocco in the back? Italy, we never even walk through Italy anymore, it seems like. They have the perfume shop and there's a couple of different shops back there. I think there's just so much that you can do that's indoors.
Yeah, I mean, you have to walk outside to
You can
get
kind
there,
of
but
hurry up and get to your next destination and just before you know it, you're in another country with a lot more to do.
DVC lounge is there. You can hide up in there.
Yep.
This may be one of those instances where we're traveling with kids, so our needs for keeping them occupied are different than yours. I completely agree that you've got all of those areas back in the countries to walk through the shops and take your time. Good luck doing that with a 10 and a 13-year-old.
Back in the day before internet was a thing and always wanted to be able to have my Disney fix when I wasn't there, my two things I would do was I would always order the most current VHS or DVD for like the planning video that they had, and I would always buy the Birnbaum's Guide to Walt Disney World, and I would buy both like the regular version and the kids version, and they had a page that was dedicated to what to do if it's raining when you're there, and the park that they suggested to go to was always Epcot for all of the reasons that Scott is saying, because you're able to spend a lot of time inside in different places because there's so many different nooks and crannies in World Showcase, plus all of the attractions and I mean, this was written before Epcot looked the way that it does now, but all of those pavilions were all indoors. So there was never a ride that was outside where you would be missing the ride or getting wet if you rode it. I think that with Magic Kingdom, it's a little bit of a mixed bag because you do have indoor attractions, but you have, Haunted Mansion, the line is outside for a, good, decent part of that line. So if there was a line, you would certainly be getting wet. Jungle Cruise is an outdoor. You've got Barnstormer, 7D Mine Train has an outdoor portion. Dumbo, the Aladdin, the Tomorrowland Speedway. There's definitely things that will close down. I mean, and have you ever looked at the wait times? Like, have you ever been at home and like you look just for fun to see what the wait times are, and then you look and you see all of these attractions are closed, and you're like, what the heck is going on? And then you realize, oh, there's like a torrential like thunderstorm rolling through, and all of the rides are closed right now.
Yeah, thunderstorms and rain are different too. So I think there's a distinction there for what closes down for heavy rain versus what closes down for thunderstorms, because that's a totally different feel. The problem with the resorts as well, as soon as you get a lightning strike within, 10 miles or 4 miles or whatever they have, now the pools are closed down. So everybody floods in to the community centers. Everybody floods into the lounges. It can get pretty crazy inside the resorts once the pool shuts down and everybody's stuck there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think I definitely for me it would be either Epcot or Magic Kingdom. I definitely don't want to be at Animal Kingdom on a rainy day. I mean, I also like and Hollywood Studios also, they flood. I mean, I was in Hollywood Studios during a torrential rainstorm, and the rain was getting under the doors of the shops on the, which is that Hollywood Boulevard when you walk in? I always forget which one is Hollywood and which one's Sunset.
Sunset's Tower of Terror, isn't it?
Hmm.
All right.
So all of the doors on those shops were closed, and the water was coming under the door and like flooding the stores. Like the drainage situation at Hollywood Studios was really bad, and it's not great at Animal Kingdom too. For the same reason we always talk about when it's so hot, because it's like shaped like a bowl, and it just kind of just the heat
It's
just
the
sits.
world's biggest sauna.
Yeah, it also then becomes like a flood zone in certain spots because of for that same reason. And I mean, so many, you've got Everest is outdoors, a safari, the Cali River Rapids. There's a lot. I mean, Animal Kingdom is definitely not a park that I would head to if it was raining, but Magic Kingdom and Epcot. And I'm with you, Scott. Like I would head to Epcot. That would be my first choice. But what about Disney Springs? Do you think that Disney Springs is something you would do on a rainy day?
No, but they do have Splitsville. You can bowl while you're there.
Well, there's
And
different
there's
shops. I mean, it's a
different
lot like
shops,
Epcot.
but
You
I
can
wouldn't want to be there in the rain.
you can duck into a lot of different shops, but
Now, I also want to just throw a shout out there. We talked about saunas. I am team umbrella versus team poncho because there is nothing worse than the sauna inside a poncho. Just want to throw that
Yes.
in there.
Yes. No,
Yes, that is
feeling
true.
like soaking in your own body heat and humidity is like a terrible, and then having the plastic like
Yes.
sticking to your flesh,
Yeah,
and then
I
trying
don't
to
like
like
that.
stand in line like shoulder to shoulder with other people that you don't know. It's terrible.
Just brutal. So I'll run you guys. I mean, just back to Magic Kingdom very quickly to give you an idea of how we actually handled it in our last trip because we had some epic downpours in the mornings when we were there in May. First of all, I think the parks aren't a bad option if you're willing to withstand the rain because it does drive the crowds away. So if you like low wait times and it's not a thunderstorm, going there in the rain can actually be beneficial because you can get on more stuff. But to give you an idea, we walked in, it was just starting. We were watching it. We immediately went over to Tomorrowland, which is typically not our favorite area of the park. We started the day at Space Mountain. We left Space. We went directly to Buzz Lightyear. We left Buzz Lightyear. We went to Carousel of Progress. We left Carousel of Progress. We went over to Monsters, Inc. Laugh Floor. Got out of Monsters, Inc. Laugh Floor. Went over to the shop by Auntie Gravity's. Walked through there. And by the time we got through all of that, that was 4 or 5 attractions. It was only 10:30 or 11 o'clock in the morning. By that point, the rain had let up and the rest of the park was anything we wanted it to be. So just being close there and having the indoor shows that took quite a long time and being able to go place to place to place was actually beneficial right there.
Yeah. For me, I just rather not be in a park when it's raining. You know that.
you don't like getting wet.
I don't.
Well, you also have the option in the morning to wake up, look at the forecast and say, no, not today, or no, maybe we'll go this afternoon instead.
Well, sometimes that's not true.
That doesn't work down here either because they could say no rain all day and then we get there.
As soon as I get out of the car,
it rains. It never fails.
like I didn't bring anything. But no, I hate getting wet. So I'd go to a resort.
I told someone the other day, I'm weird. Like, I'm okay with my top getting wet, but as soon as my legs get wet, I feel all
Yeah.
grossed out. Like, just keep my legs dry and I'm okay.
My shoes.
For me,
It's
it's my
feet.
yeah.
Yeah. I don't.
Yeah, that's what
Ugh.
total same. Like wet shoes is terrible.
Another pro tip, pack a second pair of shoes, ladies and gentlemen. Always have a second pair of shoes. We even pack like my little portable plug-in shoe dryers that I take skiing because they're tiny. You can throw them in a suitcase and you can dry out shoes at night while you're wearing your second pair.
Mm.
It's a good idea.
There is an argument to be had for Animal Kingdom if you are not somebody who typically likes to do water rides where you're going to get really wet, but if it's raining and you're going to be wet anyway, and you're probably going to have a poncho anyway to be able to go and ride Cali River Rapids in the rain,
So your argument for Animal Kingdom is if you don't like to get wet, you're wet anyway, might as well go on Cali.
Right. Like if it's a ride that you wouldn't want to ride like on a really nice day and then just be wearing wet, soggy clothes through the park after, like you're going to be wet and soggy anyway. Why not just,
You're wet already.
no matter
Yeah.
what park you're in? Yeah. Well, no matter what park you're in, you're
Did I
going to be
ever tell
wet
you
and
guys the
soggy.
story about us years ago on Goofy's Barnstormer in the rain?
Nope.
So, God, this has to be 17, 18. The kids were really little. And they did not call for rain. We did not expect rain. It was just one of those typical late May, it came roaring through. The kids were still in a stroller. The stroller was sitting off to the side, completely uncovered, like this big, giant Bob double stroller with padding on the bottom and everything inside. And we get on Barnstormer. And that's what, a 45-second ride? But when I say it opens up when we're on it, it opens up. So the kids want to go again. We're like, okay, we get back in line. No, everyone is hopping like between those targets that are actually the sunshades. And we get back on and we ride it again. And we get back to the station and there's nobody there. And the kids are screaming, we want to go again. We want to go again. And the woman looks at us and we're about to say, no, we are not going again. We're soaking wet. When it occurs to us, we are as wet as we are ever going to get. There is no getting wetter than this. I think we rode it 5 or 6 times in a row, giggling the entire time because it is just an epic downpour on that awful ride. The seats are full of water, pants are full of water, shoes are full of water. But it's like, okay, we're there. We're as wet as we could possibly get. You might as well just keep sending it. They still talk about that to this day.
When you
That's
ride
funny.
those outdoor rides during the rain, it feels like the rain is like daggers, like hitting your skin. It is not just like
I used
this.
to ride a motorcycle. It hurts.
Yeah, it like stings your skin. So like that at least up to the thrill level of Goofy's Barnstormer.
Yeah, there's not much that can make that ride acceptable. Never mind better. I suppose that was it.
Well, there's only one place at Animal Kingdom that I like to be when it's raining.
I knew you
And
were going to
Here
say
it
that's at
comes.
Nomad Lounge.
Yeah,
I knew that was coming.
Well, we've been there many times when it's been raining. It's really relaxing.
Right beside the water. You're watching it come down.
Yeah.
You're listening to
Yeah.
it. That's a really cool spot to wait out the rain.
Yeah, definitely. That is not a bad spot to be, as long as you're not sopping wet from riding Cali
Right.
River Rapids and walking around with squishy shoes.
And then walking into whatever is air conditioned after you're soaking wet and trying not to freeze.
You definitely want to be outside of Nomad when it's raining.
Yeah, definitely. Overlooking the water, that would be a good spot. I mean,
Yeah.
I have no need to be in Hollywood Studios. I mean, I just mentioned like the flooding, but also just in terms of the experience, I have no need to be in Hollywood Studios during the rain, because I mean, it's just crowded. There's like traffic flow is bad. I mean, maybe on a rainy day wouldn't be as crowded and you'd be able to do some of those rides. I guess that would be the only reason, would be to go to have shorter wait times. But that's not even guaranteed, especially in a park
Yeah, but
like
you said it
Hollywood
yourself, traffic
Studios.
flow is awful. There's nowhere really to hide. There's no great restaurants there. There's just not a lot to recommend. I would actually take Animal Kingdom over Hollywood Studios in the rain, just because at least I could go inside. I could go on some cool stuff. I could be immersed. There's plenty of places to hide. There's plenty of overhead. There's things to do. Hollywood Studios, what are you going to do? You're going to go hang out in the shops on Hollywood Boulevard? Where are you going to go in Hollywood Studios? One man's dream? Okay, with 4,000 other people hiding inside. There's nowhere to hide there.
The Frozen sing along over and over again.
Oh, dear God, no.
I mean, I do enjoy that.
Muppets.
And what about
Oh, wait. Sorry.
Oh,
Too
yeah.
soon?
and what about resorts? If it was going to be a rainy day, what resort would you prefer to be at?
That's a good question.
Does it have to be DVC?
No, I don't suppose so, because you can go to any resort.
Well, Scott's at Riverside. He answered that question
The
with a
default
question.
answer.
Did I give it away?
I mean, I love Floridian, but we've been caught in the rain there, and going building to building kind of stinks a little bit. There's a lot in the lobby, but if you've got to get from place to place, at least getting back to your room, especially the DVC, you've got to go outside. Poly's hugely overcrowded in that main area. This might actually be, I mean, Wilderness Lodge certainly in my mind shines pretty well you can get over to Boulder Ridge, you're covered most of the way. But this may actually be where Contemporary comes into its own, because you can go Bay Lake Tower through the walkway over to the Grand Canyon Concourse. Plenty of things to do there. There's lounges, there's restaurants, there's shopping, there's snacks. There's this might be a spot where Contemporary gets the win.
Yeah, that was going to be
Wow.
my answer. I was going to say Bay Lake Tower or Contemporary for all of those reasons, because you have a lot. It's all self-contained, and it has I think that the Contemporary, that BVG Gifts or whatever it's called, I think that's a great store. I love that one. I always think that they have a really good variety of things. I always find cute stuff there. And you've got Outer Rim, which isn't great, but I think that one's open all day, right? Or like at least starting at 11. I don't think that that's an evening only
I
place.
think it is.
It is evening only?
Coffee
it's open
shop,
early.
Steakhouse 71. There's a
Yeah.
lot there. And the other cool thing is you're on the monorail loop. So if you actually want to do something in the rain, maybe hopping resorts on the monorail loop isn't the wrong way to do it, because you're staying covered the entire time, lobby to lobby.
Yeah, and you're close to Magic Kingdom, so that if you want to be able to, if it starts raining and there's like droves of people that are leaving and getting on the monorail or the boat, like you're wet already, you can just walk over to the Contemporary and not have to deal with being again in a monorail sauna, or with all these people that are sweating in their in their
Definitely.
poncho.
We always have the
can,
Bay Lake versus Seven Seas debate, but I think this is one of those days where Seven Seas wins hands down.
Crescent Lake.
On a rainy day?
No, you said Bay Lake versus Seven
Oh, sorry.
Seas.
I'm sorry. Crescent Lake versus Seven Seas. I still had Wilderness Lodge in my head here.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I think there could be an argument made for Animal Kingdom Lodge too, because it has just things to look at and walk around and see. But I do think that Contemporary and being on the monorail line is definitely the place you would want to be.
Agreed. What other pro tips do we have for the rain?
I mean, I said a few of them. What else is there? I said community halls and the resorts. I said the lounges,
We had some great ones.
eating, bowling.
Well, when I went to Disney for my 40th birthday, and this was with friends. I didn't have kids with me because, again, to your point, Phil, like if you have kids with you, if this is a family trip, what you're going to choose to do is definitely going to differ, because you want to keep your kids entertained so that they're not complaining that they're bored in Disney World.
Or just bouncing off the walls, like running through the shops in Epcot, touching everything, knocking it off the shelves, asking to buy something every 14 and a half seconds. Get me out of there.
Yeah. No, that's definitely not relaxing for anybody. But when I was there for my 40th birthday with friends, we had a day that was a complete washout. And so we got a bottle of wine and we sat on the back porch of the boardwalk, and we sat out there for probably like 2.5 hours, just like watching the rain, watching the people come and go, sitting on those rocking chairs, which was like really relaxing. So like in that regard, it was nice being at Boardwalk, because we were able to be covered while being outside, while like overlooking the boardwalk and feeling like we were like still feeling like we were kind of like experiencing doing something like that was like Disney-ish, because that it was a little bit of a pain in the neck, because the many of the lounges don't open until 4. Like as an adult who was like, oh, well, we could grab a drink. If the lounges don't open until 4, you're not grabbing a drink unless you buy an overpriced bottle of wine at the gift shop and then find, either bring it back to your room or sit someplace and drink it. So that's what
Did
we
you have to
opted to
drink
do.
this out of plastic cups?
I don't remember. I guess I don't,
Probably.
but I don't remember. It was too. Look, I just turned 49. This was 9 years ago. I don't remember.
It
Listen,
turns out it wasn't one bottle of wine; it was 6. We don't have much recollection of this.
I was going to be
afternoon.
nice. She said that was for her 40th. I'm like, come on, Amy. It wasn't that long ago.
No, it was.
Disney was much different back then.
Sitting outside on the boardwalk on that covered porch is relaxing, though, anytime. So I think that would be fun. Just sitting there while it's raining.
And if you had a crew of people like we did in November, having everyone at a treehouse, just hanging out there playing a game, that would be a good time as well.
Yeah, that would be nice. I think even Geyser Point could be nice in the rain. as long as it's not raining so hard and windy where it's like blowing sideways. But if it's just like a day where you could.
I'm just thinking about Fort Wilderness because we have been there during the rain and you're on a golf cart and the rain's blowing up on the windshield and you're trying to put the windshield up and then you're putting it down and then it's coming in sideways.
That was a good time.
But it's
Poor
still a good
Parker's
time.
still on doggy alprazolam after that trip.
Well, that happened when
It's happened a few times.
Yeah, when we were some of you took the bus, right? And like some of us then took the golf cart. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, that's another time where the rain feels like it's like shards of glass hitting your flesh.
Yes.
I want to go back to Kathleen's idea too. We're talking about what to do with periods of rain. The more I think about it, the more I think that Splitsville for an afternoon and having the movie theater right there over on that same side, you could conceivably spend an entire day over on that side of Disney Springs. If you had a day that you knew it was going to rain from the time you woke up to the time you were going to bed, that's not a bad option because you could blow a lot of time over on that side of Disney Springs and stay inside and be reasonably dry.
Yeah, you could see it like the first show of a day, go to Splitsville, have lunch and go bowling, do a little bit of shopping and then see the 5:45 Cirque du Soleil if they had tickets available and then have dinner after that and then head back. So you really could make an entire. There are things that you can do there where you spend long periods of time. It's not just like popping in and spending like 30 minutes and then like needing to go to the next spot. So.
And all of those are close to each other on that side.
Yeah.
Yeah, very close.
I've never been there before. I've never been to Splitsville.
We have. Oh no, that was me and Lily.
I've never been there. Yeah, but we should do like a DVC Clubhouse bowl-a-thon.
Just don't
Really?
invite my
Bowl-a-thon.
wife. She's a ringer.
Yeah, don't let Scott fool you.
Maybe for.
I can see this coming. Next thing you know, the $700 bowling ball
Right.
comes out of its special bag and he throws on his sparkly shoes and puts on his glove like a Kingpin.
He takes it out of his bag and then like smoke starts like to form around him. Like a spotlight shines down on it.
I can see the way this is going to go. He throws the first half a dozen games and starts betting on them. All right, $100 says I'm going to hit a strike here. And it just escalates from there.
Kathleen, grab Excalibur.
Maybe for the 5th anniversary of Clubhouse, we can have our Clubhouse get together at Splitsville. We can rent some space there.
I think that would be fun.
Be competitive Clubhouse. We could go from there over to the Fantasia Gardens putt-putt.
So
yeah,
I mean, I do think that like you can definitely on a rainy day at Disney, you definitely can make the most of it. I think that we actually posted a question on the Facebook group once asking people like what they do for rainy days. And there were a lot of people that were like, I'm putting a poncho on and I'm going and taking advantage of shorter wait times. So once we post this,
That's
we can
how
have,
we're rolling.
Yeah, once we post this, we can have people chime in again about what their favorite rainy day strategy is. And, what resort they would want to stay at, what park they would pick, would they go to Disney Springs, all of that we just discussed. So,
yeah, this sounds like a poll waiting to happen.
Sure. We always discuss that we're going to put up a poll and then.
And then we don't.
It never happens.
And then we don't. And then somebody offers to do it for us, which is just
I just
fine.
want to point out that I've been very positive about rainy days at Disney, so there's no room for complaints from anybody.
Who's putting it up this time? We should just put it up right now.
You're looking at me.
Well, let's wait till we post the episode, then we can post the poll.
What's the question? What's the best thing to do on a rainy day?
Yeah.
Well, we could do a series. We could do best resort on a rainy day, best park on a rainy day, etc.
Sounds good.
Best ride queue. Tiana's.
Actually, we did really well the last trip. They shut down 7D while we were in line, and this young couple in front of us had kids, and they'd never been before. They were staying briefly before a cruise, and they were going to get out of the line. And Em and I said, do not leave this line. Number one, we're going to be inside very shortly. Like, we were already undercover, but we were about to be inside the building. I said, we're protected. We're covered. Everybody else is going to run. They're going to be crammed into stores. They're going to be under eaves. and we were watching the radar on our phone, and we knew it was going to pass quickly. So once this passes, they're going to open it back up, and we're going to be almost near the front. Sure enough, they shut down the ride. Probably 70% of the people left. We were looking out at people just getting hammered by the rain out in Fantasyland. We were undercover. We were dry. We were happy. The kids were all sitting on the ground playing with each other. By the time they opened up the line again in about 20, 25 minutes, we were, 2 minutes away from the front of the line instead of an hour away. We rode the ride and went about our day.
Oh, yeah.
All right, guys, that wrap us up?
I think so.
That's a wrap.
All right, guys. Well, as always, thank you for listening. If you could head on over to Apple Podcasts, give us a like, a 5-star review, help promote the podcast, the Facebook page, all of it, we would appreciate it. Amy?
Yeah, and as Phil mentioned, and as we mentioned earlier, we've got our Facebook group, DVC Clubhouse. We're also on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. And until next time, we'll DVC you real soon.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
See you guys.
And so our journey comes to an end.
Oh, no, please, can't we go back to page 1 and do it all over again?
Started this thing together, and that's how we'll finish it.
Because that, my friends, is where the magic lives.
Happily ever after.